You've got Lightroom, but you don't know how to import any of your photos. That's a problem, but I can help. Today, I'm going to be talking about importing your photos into Lightroom, how to organize your photos so that it doesn't take you forever to find them, some workflow tips so that you can get through editing a lot quicker, and of course, exporting. Now, I'm guessing that you think all of this is pretty boring stuff, and all you really want to do is transform those travel photos so that everyone at work is jealous. And believe me, I would love to help you do that, but you can't really edit anything if you can't get it into the program. So pay attention, and maybe next week I'll show you how to edit. So we're in Lightroom here. In the bottom left hand corner we have export and import. We want to import, so that's what we're going to click. On the left, this is where your camera or your SD card will show up. So there's two ways that you can go about transferring your pictures from your camera to your actual computer, and that's by using the cord that came with your camera or by purchasing an SD card reader like this one. I'm pretty sure it's only like 20 bucks. And if you are going to get an SD card reader, try to get one that also takes micro USBs, because if you have a drone or a GoPro, those SD cards are a little smaller, and that way you can read both of them. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I've just created a fake camera folder that I've loaded some photos into. But your camera or your SD card would show up here. You would click on it and everything that's in it would show up just like this. So you can either automatically click everything that's in here and upload it, or let's say that you had 2 shoots in one day and you want to be able to separate them. You don't want to put them all into the same folder. What you can do is uncheck all down here at the bottom, and then you can click on the first photo you want. Let's click on the last photo we want. Just hit shift, and there you go, and then click any of the boxes inside. There we go, we've got everything checked. These are all the photos that we want to move in to Lightroom, and then we go over to file handling. Here is where you can make a second copy to somewhere. So if you have a backup hard drive, or like me, I have a backup cloud storage, so every time I import, I also import the files to there, just in case something were to happen, you've got a backup. I learned that the hard way, I'll tell you that much. For this specific instance though, there's no real reason for me to make a second copy, so I'm not going to do that. Below file handling, we have file renaming. Now, I don't really use this. I'm fine with just the regular picture number that the camera puts in, but some people like to rename them to have the date, the explanation of the shoot, and then a sequence number after it. So that's where you would do that. I don't really spend the time doing that. I don't feel that I need to, so I don't do it. And then lastly, we're going to go down to destination. So this is where you want your photos to go. What I do is I set up a folder, number 1 content, and then inside it I have the year. So this is everything from 2019 that I've taken. And then inside that we have the date and then the description of the shoot. So this is really important to help you find stuff quicker. I originally just put everything in the way that Lightroom did, and all it had was dates, and I'd have to click around and spend all this time trying to figure out what's in this, what's in that, where are these shoots. It was a massive waste of time, so I highly recommend making sure that you organize everything properly. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What we want to do is go inside that 2019 folder. We're going to make sure that we click the into subfolder, and we're going to rename our folder by today's date, or the date that you shot on, which I don't remember when these pictures were taken, so we're going to use today's date, which is June 10th. And then I'm going to put a space, a dash, and then an explanation of what this shot was about. So I'm just going to put YouTube tutorial. There we go. Now you're going to want to make sure that you click into one folder. That just keeps everything nice and clean. Otherwise it just puts it into a bunch of other subfolders too, which just means you have to click like 3 times more, and nobody wants to do that. So here we go, everything's good. We're going to hit import, and Lightroom will do its thing. voila, we have our pictures. As you can see at the top, you have library, develop, map, book, slideshow, print, and web. I have never in my life used these 5 on the right, so we're not going to talk about them at all. Library is obviously where all your photos are held, and develop is where you can do your edits. Back in the library here, and we have a couple different ways of looking at them. We can look at them in a grid format where we have all of the thumbnails, or we can look at them individually in larger scale. Now, most photographers will probably go out, take a whole bunch of photos, and then only pick a few to then edit. So we want to go through and get everything else out of the way so that we don't have to waste time, we don't have to sort through them again. They're just gone, we don't have to worry about them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our first photo, we're going to click on this button here to make it bigger, and we're going to use the right arrow to start going through our photos. Once we find a photo that we like, I like this one for instance, what I like to do is I like to hit the 3. Now what this does is you'll see it gave it a 3-star rating. I go through all of my photos, and any that I think has potential to be edited, I give it a 3-star. So I'm just going to click a couple random photos and I'll show you what it does. Now we have a 3-star rating on these photos down here, as you can see, and what we're going to do now is go over to where it says filters off, and we're going to click rated. So now as you can see, that just cut out every photo that we don't want to waste time editing. From here, what you're going to want to do is go in and start editing each photo. Some of them aren't really going to turn out the way that you thought they would, so they're going to stay at 3 stars. The ones that turned out really well, we're going to bump those up to 4, and then we're going to cut out the old ones. So let's say that I've actually edited some of these. Now I'm going to go up to these stars here, and I'm going to click 4 stars only. So that got rid of all of the 3-star ones that I thought had potential, but didn't quite end up working out. And from here, you're just going to do some final edits. So we'll pretend that we edited this one, and those are the 2 that we want to export. We'll go over here, we'll click 5 stars, get rid of everything else, and then we'll get into exporting. If you want to export an individual photo, you can just right click on the photo, export and export. Or if you want to do all of your 5-star photos, you click on the first one, you hit the shift and hold, and then click on the second one. Then you right click, export, export. You're going to want to export into a specific folder, so make sure you click that. Here is where you get to choose where they go. For now, we'll just throw them on the desktop. We'll create a new folder called exports, choose. From there, you can put them into a subfolder if you'd like. In this case, we're not going to. Under file naming, this is where you can rename the finished photos as well. You can have the date, a custom name, and then a sequence number put to it if you want. Or you can just leave it the way they are, which is what I like to do. This is useful if you have to upload pictures into a website or something like that where there's a restriction to how large it can be. You can just pick the size here. You can also play with the quality. I usually keep it at 100, but remember that the higher the quality, the more space it's going to take up. Image sizing is where you can play with your resolution. 300 pixels per square inch is where you're probably going to want it. It also works for print, so keep that in mind. And you can also put a watermark on there if you're scared that people are going to be stealing your photos. But that's about it. We're going to hit export, and away they will go. We'll pull up our desktop here, our new file, and look at that. We have our photos. So there you have it. Hopefully you have all of your photos into Lightroom now, and you can start playing around with all those mysterious sliders. Please go easy on the saturation. Trust me, you'll thank me for this. Next week, I will be putting out a tutorial on how to edit using the Basics tab. So if that's something that you want to learn, hit subscribe, make sure that you don't miss out. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button below. Let me know in the comments if you found anything particularly useful. Maybe you import your photos a different way. Let everybody know down below. It'd be great for anybody watching this video or reading through these comments to see some different methods to get this done. Other than that, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and until next time, get out there, take some pictures, have fun. Peace. Today, I'll be talking about importing. Today, I'm Workflow tips. Some workflow tips. Today, I'm going to be talking about importing your photos into Lightroom, how to organize them so that it doesn't take you